and welcome to day 4 of Bookmas. Today we're going to be doing a huge book haul. I've never done a book haul this big in my life, but I have kind of lost my mind in these last sales that have been going on, and also just me staying up and going on Vinted. So I have a lot of books to show you. 35 of them are like physical copies. I'm only missing 2 that are still on their way, but I didn't want to wait anymore for this video. And then the other 18 are audiobooks. Now before we get started, I do know that this is a little bit excessive. I am aware that I do have a little bit of an issue, a little bit of a shopping problem. I am supporting others, I guess. But today I just wanted to do a fun video showing you everything that I got. If I am going to go broke, maybe at least I can get a video out of it. I buy a lot of books, usually on sales. The marketing teams really got me by my neck. They just send me those emails and I fall for them. So usually I don't have a lot of self-control when it comes to a book sale. Unfortunately, I wish I had. A few of these are because I haven't seen this cover being sold. So when I find that a specific cover that I want is kind of hard to find or is going out of print, something like that, I usually do buy them just because I'm scared that they will stop printing that cover, and I love those covers. So that's another thing that always gets me. And then it's just like going on Vinted, and then I find these really cool books or really like cheap books. And for the first time in my life, I actually kind of lost my mind when it comes to special editions. That's definitely where I spent most of the money because all of the others were on sales, and especially on Black Friday, it was pretty cheap. Also, I'm not going to tell you a summary of every single book because this video would be hours long and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to tell you why I decided to buy it. Let's get into the video. So we're going to start with the most exciting ones, which is the special editions. I think you can clearly tell what the first one is, but I did get the Fabulous special edition of The Night and the Moth. I cannot tell you how excited I was to get this. I truly have seen nothing but amazing things about this book. Everyone loves it, and this copy specifically is so stunning. So let me show you. First we have the cover, then we have the spine, and this part right here I think is the least exciting one. Then we have the sprayed edges that I really love. It goes all around, which is pretty cool. I hate when it's only this part. It feels lazy. And then we get into the really fun part. So let me take the jacket off. Like all around stunning. And then on the inside, it manages to be even more stunning. I don't know how, but they really did outdo themselves here. So the end papers are so gorgeous. I love the characters. I love these drawings. I think it looks so cool. This one was definitely the most expensive one. I'm not gonna say how much I spent on this one, but I think it's worth it. If anything goes wrong, if I don't end up liking the book, which could happen, I'm just gonna resell it. Then I also got the Fairy Loot edition of Calabasas, and I'm also obsessed with this one specifically because the naked hardback is so gorgeous. So first we have the cover. The spine is pretty simple. It just says Calabasas. And then the back has a quote, and then the sprayed edges have like these stairs. It keeps going, and unfortunately it doesn't have anything here. That does upset me, but it is what it is. It does have an alternate cover. The Night and the Moth one didn't have it. It was just like the books covered like the normal cover, but this one has this alternate cover that I also think is really cute. And then we have this. Like, are you kidding? I love this. I think, can you even see? It's like pretty white, so like I don't know if you can tell, but it's just so pretty. It's so pretty. And then it also has some drawings on the end papers. It always has like some character art on the end papers. So we have this one, and then this one. I'm so excited to read this one too. Once again, with special editions, I'm always like, if I don't like them, I can just resell them. Honestly, I'm kind of like that with any book that I get, but I feel like when you spend a little bit more money on special editions, it's nice to at least know that someone else is gonna want it. Then I also got the Fairy Loot edition of Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. This one, I really like the cover. I feel like it's a very like moody, fallish cover. And then on the back, we have another quote. And then the hardback is so pretty. I love this. I love that it looks kind of like an old book in the spine. It also has the same quote on the back, and then it also matches like the cover on the sprayed edges. Unfortunately, once again, not on the top and bottom, just on the outside, but it still is really cute. But what I really love about this edition is the drawings I think the end papers on this one are so cute. I really love them. You know what? I had to get it. You know, the monster in my head that always wants to spend my money told me that I needed them, and so I got them. And I couldn't be happier, so I don't regret it. Now, this one was a little bit of a random pick, but I saw it on Vinted for very cheap. I've also been wanting to read this book. I have seen like the normal cover. I think it's also so pretty, but I saw this special edition. It's a sapphic fantasy and I want to read more sapphic books. So I was like, you know what, why not? This edition is so cute. So we have the cover, the spine, and then the back cover. I don't know if that's how you say it, but the back cover is also pretty cute. It has like also another drawing, which I really appreciate because the other ones don't really have that. This one actually doesn't have like an inside cover, which kind of sucks. It doesn't even have like the normal cover. I wish it had. We have the naked hardback. It has this castle in the cover. Then we have the spine where the drawing continues, and then the back cover also is so cute with the swan. And then the end papers I also think look really cute. Yeah, I just wanted to read more sapphic fantasy. I've had my eye out for this book for a while now, and so when I saw it for pretty cheap on Vinted, I was like, why not? Also, I didn't show you the sprayed edges, but this is what they look like. And the last one is actually not a special edition. It's a deluxe edition that I bought of Wild Reverence. It has like the normal UK cover and then the spine. It has a quote on the back. Then it has this really pretty sprayed edge that matches the cover. Unfortunately, once again, doesn't have it here nor here, but you can have everything, I guess. And then it has, I think it's the same on both. Yeah, it is the same on the back and on the front cover, but there's a really cute drawing of the characters, so I'm not mad about it. Also, I've heard nothing but amazing things about this book. Getting into more Vinted finds, I bought the first 5 books in the Shatter Me series. This girl was selling the set, and I only have the first and the 6th and then all of the novellas, so I was missing the 4 books in the middle. So I do already have this one, but I think I'm just gonna donate it to like a little free library because it is also so beat up. Like, I read it a few years ago and it's not in a good state, so I'm just gonna leave it in a little free library. Whoever wants it can have it. Now I finally have the whole series complete and I feel like I can finally binge it. These books are so good for a reading slump. It's the best like YA dystopian fantasy series for you to just binge. These are so easy to read. Then I saw this cover of Wuthering Heights on TikTok and I really became obsessed with it, and so I went to look for it on Vinted because I want to read it before the movie comes out. And the girl was also selling Jane Eyre, and if you buy more than one thing on Vinted, you usually can get a discount, or you can like make an offer to buy them for cheaper. So I did get both. I really like the decollete edges. I know a lot of people hate them, but I think they give like personality. It just feels older. I don't know. This one is like this on the front cover, and then like this on the back. I really like it. And then it also has like some drawings here. I really like this, but this one I think is just so pretty. This is the front cover. And then the back, I love this girl. I think she's so pretty. And then it also has these drawings that I think just look so good. So I got both for a very cheap price. They're secondhand. And I also feel like classics are always a good investment. I'm always gonna want to read them at some point in my life. So I feel like buying classics, especially when you find an edition that you really love, is always worth it. Then getting into some books that I bought just like on a normal sale, because once again, those emails always get to me. I finally found this cover of Tender as the Flesh. I don't know if you have seen the new one. I'll put it here. I think it's so ugly. I think this one is just so much prettier. I've been really excited to read this book. I know it's like a dystopian novel. They basically eat human meat, and I've been wanting to read this one for a very long time. So as soon as I saw this cover, I had to buy it because I hate the new cover, and I just wanted to get this before like it completely goes out of print. Another thing that I have been trying to do now when I buy books is to just try to diversify my library a little bit more. So this time when I was shopping, I was really trying to go for books that I really think I'm gonna read, and also that are different from what I usually have on my shelves, just to have more options of what to read, because because sometimes I don't feel like reading a romance and I don't feel like reading a fantasy, and I want to have just different books. So you're gonna be able to tell that I have a few different genres going on, and that's why. So the next one is A Dowry of Blood. This year I have found out that I really like reading gothic fiction, especially when it's like a gothic sapphic novel. Well, this is exactly what this is. I have heard this has beautiful writing, so I had to get it. Then once again with the gothic horror fiction, I got Blood on Her Tongue. This one I saw Heather reading and she really liked it, and I really trust Heather's recommendations, and so when she was freaking out about this, I decided to buy this one, and I'm very excited to read it too. So I finally have some options when I'm feeling like a gothic horror novel. Then I got A Love Letter to Whiskey. Everyone always says that if you love Magnolia Parks, you're gonna love this one too. Magnolia Parks is one of my like favorite series slash books of all time. Unfortunately, don't love the author. So everyone says that if you like that series, you're gonna like A Love Letter to Whiskey. And I think this one is the first edition that was traditionally published. So that's why the cover has changed. And also the sprayed edges I think are pretty cute. It's like a continuation of the cover. This is also one of my 25 books for 2025. Unfortunately, not gonna complete it. This book just has been on my mental TBR for so many years at this point. Ever since I joined Book Talk, I've been hearing everyone talk about it. So I finally got it. Now, let's get into the books that I got on Black Friday. So the first one is This Is How You Lose a Time War. I've also had this on my mental TBR for years at this point. I'm just very interested ever since I saw Jack Edwards talk about it. It was so cheap on Black Friday. I was like, this is my sign to finally read this book. Then I got two holiday romances. I got Good Spirits and Holiday Ever After. I really want to read these during this holiday season, and I actually don't really have like any holiday reads, so I really wanted to get some physical copies. I got both of these. They were £3 each. You know, I can't argue with that. So then I got this book. This one wasn't even really that cheap on Black Friday, but I saw this cover and I was immediately drawn. I've never heard about this book ever in my life. So I just went on Goodreads and I was trying to figure out if people like really like the book or if the cover is just like really good. But I saw a lot of people saying that this book is just like amazing. It's one of the best like female rage lit fic kind of books that they've ever read. And I really want to get into more of that the next year. Weird girl lit kind of books. I feel like those are the books that are most like calling my name recently for some reason. I don't know. I feel like maybe it's just because it's like the fall winter time. And so I saw this cover, I saw the reviews, everything just seemed great. And I'm also so happy because this is the American floppy paperback, and there's nothing better than a floppy paperback. I'm so excited to read this. This is going on my must reads for 2026 because I simply cannot wait to read this. Then I got Evenings and Weekends, and recently I saw Dylan Joseph read this book and I really trust his recommendations. Once again, it was like £3 to £4 on Black Friday, and I actually really like this cover. I think this also deals with like family dynamics, and I really like seeing that in books. So very excited to get to this one. Once again, as you can tell, we're trying to diversify a little bit more my reads and my bookshelf. So yeah, I got a lot of books, but I feel like I have so many more options now to read. Then I got the box set of the Gold Wrench series. This was £15 on Black Friday. I think the covers are so cute. Off the Races, A Photo Finish, The Front Runner, and A False Start. Obviously this one is my favorite. It's pink, it's so cute. Then I got two books from Frida McFadden. I got Never Lie. I've actually read this one, but I've been meaning to give this one to my boyfriend so that he can read it as well. I used to not let my friends borrow my books a lot. I was always scared that they were gonna damage them and whatever, and now I just don't really care. I feel like the point of having a bookshelf with a lot of books is to kind of just be a little library, and I like letting my friends borrow my books, and even if they are a little bit beat up, it just shows that a lot of people have been reading the book, and I think that's pretty cool. So I got Never Lie and then War Deed. This one I've never read, but I've heard good things about. And sometimes you just need like a very quick thriller, and I feel like Frida McFadden is the perfect author for that. And these were once again like £3. Girl, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it. I have to buy it because the way I see it, I'm gonna be wasting my money if I don't buy them now, because when I buy them and they're more expensive, I just lost so much money. So now I just saved. Then also still in that thriller vibe, I got The Perfect Marriage. I've seen this one on Book Talk for years now. I've never read it, but I really want to. And once again, £3. Why not? I feel like I need more thrillers on my shelf. I've basically read every single one that I had, so I got this one. Then I got Tell Me Lies. I know this one is like a very toxic romance. It's been made into a TV show, which they kindly let me know by putting a non-removable sticker on the cover and ruining like the cute vibes. When I saw it, I was like, it's gonna be removable, right? They're not gonna just put it like literally above the text. They did. It's so annoying when they do that, but I really like reading toxic romances. I do think my guilty pleasure in books is reading toxic romances. I've heard this one is very toxic, and I think after I read this, I'm gonna watch the show, so I'm very excited to get to this one. The next one is Bitter Thorn. This one is from the same author of Hungerstone, and that is, I think, my favorite or one of my favorite books of 2025. That one is like a gothic horror sapphic novel, and this one is like a sapphic gothic fantasy. And I actually have had this book on my want to read list on Goodreads for years now, and when I realized that it was the same author that wrote that book that I love so much, I just decided to get it. I already read the first page, and just the writing is so good. I love this author's writing. For some reason, it just like scratches an itch in my brain, and I love it. Then I got Heavenly Bodies. I've been meaning to read this one for so long now. I've heard nothing but amazing things. I think this is also going to be like a priority read for 2026. Then I got the second book in the Beartown trilogy. This one is Us Against You. I actually haven't read Beartown, but I have read A Man Called Ove, and I also read, I think it's The Answer Is No, and I've realized that I really like his writing. I think, once again, scratches an itch in my brain, and it just flows so well. And I really like his writing because I feel like there's always some type of like commentary or like character analysis in it, and I really like that type of writing. So I got the second book because I think I'm gonna love this series, and I really want to read it this winter. And then finally, to finish off the physical copies that I have here, I bought Dead of Winter. Once again, I've seen Heather say nothing but good things about this book. I really trust her recommendations. I feel like she and Sarah are the ones that I just really trust their book taste, and so when they say that they love a book, I'm always like, add it to cart. I've been wanting to read this one during the winter, and I didn't know when I bought it. I thought it was gonna be the UK cover, but it's actually the American one, and it literally couldn't be more perfect because all I want to do with this book is to just take a whole day off to read it and just like sit in my bed with a blanket and just devour this whole book, because I've heard that it's very bingeable. The chapters are very short. Yeah, it has 78 chapters and 330 something pages, so it's very fast-paced, and I'm very glad that it's so floppy because it's just gonna be like so comfortable to hold and just binge this book, and I can't wait to read this. I've been so curious about this ever since she read it and she loved it. And the last two books that I still don't have with me, the first one is Night Bitch. I've heard this one is also like a female rage kind of fiction, and once again, I really like that type of book, and that one has been on my mental TBR for a very long time, and I found out that that book has a new cover, and the old cover that I love is really hard to find, and so when I found it, I bought it. And the same thing happened for the next book, which is We Have Always Lived in a Castle. I've seen this cover all over TikTok, and I really liked it. I quickly found out that it has a new cover, and I don't like the new cover. I think the old cover is iconic, and so when I also saw it on the same website that had the old cover of Night Bitch, I just got both because once again, I have no self-control. So now they're on their way to me, and I can't wait to add them to my shelf. Those are all of the physical copies that I got in the last 1 to 2 months, but now it's time to go through all of the audiobooks that I bought. So starting with the audiobooks that I got on Audible, I got Set the Record Straight, Holiday Romance, Bound, Butter, and Holiday Ever After. I got these 5 because I had some credits left, but then I found out a very good alternative to Audible. Libro FM is so much better. First of all, when you buy a book, you're basically buying it from like an independent bookstore, and you can choose an independent bookstore all around the world. And for example, I live in Portugal, so I can buy my books from a Portuguese independent store, and when I buy those audiobooks, it directly supports them. So I think that's very cool. And they were having an absolutely crazy Black Friday sale. Like, actually genuinely crazy. Almost every single book that I got was between like 2 to 4 euros. And if you buy audiobooks, you know how cheap that is. Usually an audiobook is like between 15 to 30 euros. It's insane how much audiobooks cost. I think I paid in total like 30 euros for 13. That's insane. That's such a good price. So let's go through the ones that I got. I actually have already finished 2 of them. I read My December Darling and The Gingerbread Bakery. And then the ones that I haven't finished yet, I got The Grey Seer, Calabasas, Heavenly Bodies, The Temporary Roomie, Love Life Farms, This Infinite Threads, Love Redesigned, Inheritance Games, This Woven Kingdom, The Match, and Good Spirits. Now you can probably tell that some of these audiobooks I already own, or I just literally show them to you right here. And that is because I love doing immersive reading. And I've been having a very big problem with focusing because I've been addicted to my phone. And some of the books that I already have on my physical TBR for a while now, I got the audiobook so that I can actually read them, because some of them I wouldn't just sit down and read them. It was like 1 to 3 euros, the ones that I got that are on my physical TBR already. And I just decided that it was a good way to get through those books that are not calling my name as much, because I like going on walks and listening to audiobooks, and like going on the treadmill and listening to audiobooks, just doing random things and listening to audiobooks. I really like doing it. So I thought it was a good way to finally get through some of my physical TBR. And yeah, those are all of the books that I got. There's a lot. I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot, and I definitely need to put myself on a book buying ban. In 2026, I really want to focus on reading a lot of my physical TBR. I'm gonna try to only buy books if it is like a new release that I think I'm gonna read right away. Otherwise, I already have so much on my physical TBR, and honestly, I just want to dwindle it down the best I can. And I also need to get real with myself about some of the books that I already have on my shelves that I've had for a long time. 2026 is definitely going to be the year where I read more from my physical TBR, because in 2025 I mostly read new books that I bought, which is still pretty good. Like, it's good that I'm reading the books that I have been buying, but at the same time I have been neglecting every single book that I bought before 2025, and I have to stop doing that. So in 2026, hopefully we will get through a good chunk of my physical TBR. I personally don't think it's a problem to have like a big physical TBR. I personally love having a lot of options. I think it's okay to buy books now and only read them like 3 years from now. I don't think it's an issue. I know a lot of people don't like having books on their physical TBR for more than a year, but sometimes you just need to wait for the perfect moment to read a book, and you know it's something you want to read eventually in your life. So like, if you want to buy it, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. And I also feel like this year I've been in a huge reading slump, and I think it is because I've been kind of reading the same books for a few years now, and I've been feeling myself wanting to branch out and wanting to try different genres and just like get out of my comfort zone. So I really tried to diversify a little bit more with the books I bought. I know there's still like a pretty good amount of romance in all of these books, but that's because I'm a romance reader to my core. But that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've read these books, let me know what you think about them. If you think any of these should be on my priority list for 2026. There's probably a video coming of me going through all of my physical TBR, which has grown a lot in the last year. So subscribe if you want to see that, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.